I think it's time to get this thing ready for winter. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things, and today I'm going to be getting the SATvan ready for wintertime. This is basically going to be a tutorial for the very small amount of people who even own vans like this out there, but it also might help some other people out there who need to winterize RV style vans, or really any kind of RV for that matter. I'm also going to use this as an excuse to give you guys some updates on the SATvan. So let's actually start with what we're going to need for this process. First up, I've got not 1 but 2 gallons of RV antifreeze. You can pick this up pretty much anywhere. I also have a hose with a 1/2-inch coupler right here, which I will need to put on here right now. Now this hose is going to be used to suck the RV antifreeze out of these jugs into the unit. And then I also have a spray nozzle over here in order to get this stuff through all of the necessary hookups. I've never really covered the water systems in this van that heavily just yet, so you guys will get a better look at it today. But basically what I'm working with is the sink right here, both hot and cold water, the indoor shower, both hot and cold water. I have the cassette toilet, which obviously uses water as well. I have a spray nozzle right here. And then in the back, I also have another outdoor shower, which uses both hot and cold water. So there's a few different steps to this. Every unit is going to be different, but if we're specifically talking about the Winnebago Revel, it's pretty straightforward. Starting right here by the door of the van, you will see a freshwater drain. You do want to make sure that your water pump is on for this. And as you can see or hear, I've already drained the tanks pretty much to as low as they will go. I'm going to turn that thing off for now. I will take my hose with that coupler, hook it up to this winterization valve right here. I'll open the first gallon of this RV antifreeze, get the hose in there all the way down to the bottom. Now I'm going to flip this winterization valve and this will start the process. Another thing to quickly note under here is that up here in this little recessed hole is the plug to drain a freshwater tank. It's sort of like a square plug on there. It's kind of annoying to get to, but if you want to have a tool to get up in there, I will leave a link for one in the description down below. So the first thing I'm going to do is move up here to the kitchen sink. Still got my dish cleaning sponge in there. I'm going to start by turning on the cold water. A little bit of water still remaining in there. And as you can see, now we're pumping pink out of here. I'm going to switch this over to hot water. Run the hot water for a little bit. Notice that there's still some fresh water in the lines. And now we're getting that pink antifreeze. One thing to keep in mind for later is that there is a pump for this sink, and if I drain that, now some of that antifreeze is in that pump. However, I am going to want to add more later, because if there's water sitting in there and it freezes, there's a good chance that it's going to break that pump. Now if we check this jug, you can see that it's already used about half of that, so that is why we have 2 gallons. Now while I have the sink open, I'm actually going to winterize the shower through the shower head, but just dump it into here. You can just dump it right into the normal shower drain. However, if you let this antifreeze sit on anything like the white in the bathroom here, there's a good chance that it could stain, and it's just easier for me to put it right here into the sink. So I'm gonna do the same thing again, starting with the cold water. Got a nice steady stream of pink. Now the hot water. Again, some fresh water coming out of there initially. And now we got the pink. Now this isn't a big deal, but I'm also going to first get all of the air out of this hose and then actually pop the shower nozzle off of here and let the rest of that antifreeze drain out. But I'm just gonna do this that way it doesn't have the chance of dripping in the shower and staining like I mentioned. I'll put that back, and by now we probably have to switch over to the second gallon. Now for the toilet, to finish up the bathroom, the flush button is in the back here. Just gonna hold that flush button until we get pink, just like this. Drain that into the black cassette, and we should be good. Now moving to the back outdoor shower behind my bug screen right here. Another hookup, and for this one I'm just gonna be using the spray nozzle rather than the shower head. Simply press that in to connect the hose, cold water on. There we got pink, hot on as I spray my door with antifreeze. And there we got pink. I'm gonna turn the water off. Definitely going to spray out any remaining pressure because I don't want to get antifreeze on the inside of my floor here. And then very carefully pop that off, pull the hose out, and then I can drain the remaining antifreeze. However, I'm still gonna use this hose for the next step. Now the last hookup, like I mentioned, is this spray port right here. So I'll connect the same hose. Clean water, pink water, and that'll do it. Now I've used this spray port a few times before, and what I found is that if you don't shut the water pump off before you disconnect it, there's a good chance that it's gonna spray everywhere. So I'm gonna go inside. I'll turn that water pump off now that there is antifreeze through the entire system. Get out the remaining pressure there and pop this off without getting too much antifreeze. Same thing as the shower head, I will drain this hose because chances are this thing will stay in the van where it lives. And now just one more step as far as the antifreeze goes. I'm gonna close up these ports and turn the winterization valve back to normal. That way in the future when I go to use the water system, it's not gonna be sucking through this. And then I will carefully remove this from the coupler, let the remaining antifreeze drain back into this jug. And now, like I mentioned, I'm actually gonna use this for something. I'm going to take some of this remaining antifreeze, and although there is some in this pump down here, I'm gonna add just a little bit extra because there was some fresh water going into that. That should be plenty. Now when I run this pump, it's pumping straight antifreeze through the pump and into the gray water tank. Now the only thing left to do after this step is to simply clean up everything, because while I tried not to get the antifreeze everywhere, still got some drips all over the place. So I'm gonna clean the van inside and out. I'm going to drain the gray water tank. I'm going to take out the cassette toilet and make sure I dispose of that properly. And then from that point on, the van should be good to survive any kind of temperatures that gets thrown at it. Now some of you may be asking why I'm winterizing the van like this, because if you watch some of my previous videos, you will know that the Winnebago Revel is a 4-season camper. I've had this thing when the temperatures were freezing. It's actually been in snow in the middle of June, and I posted a photo about that on Instagram. This thing is well insulated and it is very capable of being in freezing temperatures as long as you're actually occupying the van. Now with the way my travel schedule has been lately, I've been flying around a lot, and there's a good chance that in the next couple of weeks, when it does get down to the freezing temperatures here in the Northeast, I'm not going to be able to be in my van at night. I'm thinking about like mid-November, early December, where at nighttime it's going to definitely be in the freezing temperatures. I'm gonna have some trips around there where I'm flying and I'm not gonna be here at my van. So I don't wanna have this thing sitting here without the heat running, because then all of the water in this could have the possibility of freezing. Now, if you're staying in the van during freezing temperatures, that's completely fine. As long as you're in there running that S-bar heating system, it's going to keep your tanks from freezing. Now, just because I'm saying that I'm not gonna be in the van during freezing temperatures, doesn't mean that the van videos are going to stop. I'm still gonna be using this thing as I typically do, as like a gear hauler and basically a mobile studio that I can take down into town or up into the mountains and have everything that I need with me, and the ability to do some other stuff too. However, I have not had this thing through a complete like dead of winter yet. I picked it up around springtime, and I do plan on using this for some skiing trips, at least on the East Coast for this season. Speaking of that, there is another thing that I want to do. Since I'm not gonna be using this shower, I'm not really gonna be using any water because I won't have the need to, and there is no water in the van anymore. I am going to convert the bathroom back into what it was originally when I bought the van, and that is a whole lot of extra storage. I don't think I've shown this in any of my other videos, but as you can see here, the van came with some bamboo racks which fit perfectly in the shower, turning this thing basically into a wet storage closet type of deal. The drain and everything is obviously still capable of working, so I'm thinking like after a long day of skiing, I come in here, hang up all of my wet clothing. I can remove some of these if I want to. Still got this bar up here if I actually want to hang stuff to dry. I can throw my boots in the bottom there, and then as the van is heated up and all of that extra snow is melting, it's gonna go right down the drain. So that's a little bit of dual purposeness there that I've never really showed you guys, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this actually works out in the wintertime. So that's pretty much it for the winterization of the SATvan. I'm gonna get in there and start cleaning this thing top to bottom now, which you guys probably don't wanna watch. I've already made a video on that, so if you wanna watch that, you can check it out right here. Hopefully this was helpful to some of you out there, like the very small amount of people who might have come to this video to learn about winterization. This isn't the end all be all. There are some other tricks that you can do, like actually completely pulling the plug on the freshwater tank to drain it and things like that. But for the most part, a lot of these steps are applicable to a lot of different units out there. So yeah, hopefully this helped. So if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. And you will still see the SATvan throughout the next couple of months, but you'll really start to see it a lot more in the spring. I have something big planned, early spring, going into summer. Might last the entire summer, I'm not exactly sure, but I will give you guys more information on that in the future once I do a little bit of planning. So now it's cleaning time. If you guys are new to the channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every week. That's gonna be all for today. So as always, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.